Well, hello. Well, thank you guys for being here, especially after yesterday's party. You are not the only one with the sexy boys, you see. It was a great party. Thank you. I'm start talking about the OpenWebDevice. That is the first phone that is going to be delivered with the shiny and fantastic Firefox OS. So let's start with a bit of introduction. That's me, Francisco, the Spanish guy here. Those are some bits of my digital life. Okay, so you can find me there in Twitter, GitHub, and I'm working for Telefónica Digital. And you are going to think, okay, why is a guy from Telefónica Digital talking about Firefox OS? So let's start with a bit of history, okay? And I will explain you why I'm talking about this. So in early 2011, we at Telefónica Digital started to realize that the mobile landscape was already dominated by two mainly brands, and we didn't like the way that it was working at all. Because the problem was that, or either you have a really expensive device, or you have a phone that is not going to be updated at all. I'm talking about buying an iPhone or a super nice Android device that is like 500 or 600 pounds, or either you buy a cheap Android phone that is not going to be updated ever. So we didn't like that at all, because especially we are really big in South America. So we said, OK, we want to do something. We want to create a device that is cheap, that anyone can buy, and is able to deliver the same experience that you have in your iPhones and super nice Android. So in order to do that, we decided to go with web technologies. By that time, we thought, OK, web technologies are mature enough to deliver these kind of things. We are going to create this phone, and we are going to base this in these web technologies. So we were thinking about it, we were prototyping and so on, and you know what happened? And in June, July, I think, past year, Mozilla already announced the Gecko project. And it was like, oh, dude, the same idea, the same principles. This is amazing. In the other part of the world, there were other people having the same idea. What are we going to do? Are we going to compete with them? No way. We called them, we called Mozilla and say, hey guys, we really love your idea. We think that it's incredible. Can we work together? And the answer was, yes, come on, let's go. And that's why today I'm here, okay? So we started working together. I don't know you guys if in the Mobile World Congress you saw a prototype that we were coming with two different UIs using the same backend. We were already collaborating, but then we realized that it was a waste of time and resources to creating two separate UIs. So we said, OK, no, let's stop it. Let's try to work together. And what we are doing so far is the both of us, Telefónica and, of course, Mozilla, we are trying to achieve that. It's create Firefox OS and trying to launch in. Remember, I said that we want to create a cheap phone that is going to be able to deliver that experience, OK? So the OpenWebDevice is going to be this first phone. It's going to be launched in Brazil in Q1 next year, OK? So if you count the number of months, that means that Mozilla will be able to deliver a completely new and shiny operating system in less than 1 year and a half. That's blow-minding. It's incredible. I mean, who is able to say that you can deliver a new operating system in that time? So remember, what I want you to realize about the OpenWebDevice is it's going to be a cheap phone, really, really cheap one, but it's going to deliver that kind of super nice experience. And now it's enough talking about OpenWebDevice, and let's start talking about Firefox OS, OK? So, OK, it's cheap. That means that the resources that we are going to have in the phone are not like the best one. Memory is not going to be infinite. The screen maybe is not the best one. But the experience is going to be amazing. And how are we going to deliver that? OK, so Firefox OS is the one who is going to deliver that experience. So that is a prototype. OK? Think that that's a Firefox OS. I'm going to explain you what are the principles that are going to make Firefox OS becoming that amazing phone. So we are going to have like 3 layers in the whole phone. And I'm going to explain the 3 of them, OK? The first one is the one that we call Gong. Gong is a solid Linux, OK? It's drivers, it's a kernel. It's a Linux running on a phone. And here, Mozilla were really, really smart. Instead of saying, OK, let's reinvent the wheel, let's create our own version of Linux that is going to be able to run here. No way. There is already an open source project that does this. It's called Android. OK, We have Android. It's open source. Pretty cool. Let's remove the part that we don't like from it. Java. OK. Let's remove Java. And what we have is that solid Linux kernel and those drivers and so on. And this is pretty good. This is pretty nice, which means that Firefox OS is going to be quite easy to port to platforms that are already running on Android. That's pretty important, OK? That means that so far you have like Firefox OS running in Samsung Galaxy S2, in Galaxy Nexus, Nexus Ones, prototypes, and some LG phones, and so on, and even things like Raspberry Pi. Can you imagine? You know, it's like if you're able to run Android, maybe, well, you will be able to run at some point porting it Firefox OS. I think that is a pretty cool idea. OK, now we have this kernel. We have these drivers. What else? We have another layer. It's called Gecko. I'm sure that this name is familiar for you all, OK? This is the magic engine that is powering the Firefox in your laptops and in your desktop browsers. It's the same one that is powering the Firefox OS, OK? And the good things about it is like this is talking directly to that kernel and those drivers. There is not any other layer of operating system behind it, which means that we are saving like a lot of resources. You see, here we are just saving resources instead of needing like a lot of memory to running an operating system and then putting a browser in the top. No, it's the browser or the browser engine already running here. That's incredible. But we will need more things, extra APIs, in order to being able to run a phone. Because at the end of the day, a phone needs to make calls, isn't it? If not, it's like that ice cream. It's pretty cool, but we need to make calls, we need to send SMS, and things like that. So later, we will talk about all those new APIs, OK? We will talk about what Mozilla is doing for providing us with those APIs in order to create the phone. And the last layer is Gaia, OK? Gaia is just an UI that we put on top of that browser engine, and we create the experience, the user experience for the Firefox OS. It's called Gaia, but at the end of the day, it's just a set of web apps. You can create your own. Later, I want to show you that we can create whatever you want. So this is amazing, and this is what today I will try to show you, that it's not just an operating system, that is a philosophy. It's much more. It's a lot of things. So let's start talking about those APIs. So Mozilla is doing a great effort. It's incredible. It's like, OK, we don't have all we need more things if we want to create a phone. No, we need like making calls. We need the telephone API. We need to make the phone vibrate. We will have a vibration API. But the most important thing for me is not just that they are creating the APIs that they need. They are trying to standardize them. That's quite important, OK? That means that it's not, OK, I'm going to create this. No, no, no. They are going through the process, talking with the industry, talking with the standard organizations in order to standardize those APIs. That's amazing. That's a really great job from them. That means that anyone can participate in defining those APIs, discussing, and things like that. And that's quite important, guys, that you can go and start discussing what would you like to be working on the SMS API or something like that. So please take a look to that wiki page, and you will realize that there is a lot of new APIs that are incredible. Sorry. Also, an important thing is some of those APIs are not just going to live in the phone itself. Some of those APIs are going to jump to the browser. Actually, in fact, the latest version of the browser, Firefox Daily, already contains some of those APIs. So that's another great effort, and that's opening as well our new possibilities, OK? So now what I would like to do is show you a bit of code about those APIs, what they are doing, and you will realize that at the end of the day, this is just JavaScript. So that's an example of the telephony API, OK? It's quite simple. You can read it. It's not a problem. You can understand it. It's event-oriented, so whenever you receive a call, you have a callback to handle that call asynchronously. You can do stuff. So any one of you can read that perfectly and can understand it. There's no like black magic there. It's like quite simple. The same thing for sending SMS or receiving SMS. The code is quite simple for you. You all can understand perfectly without me having to explain it what it's doing. That's one of the great things of this. Also, more examples of APIs. The OpenWebApps API. This is one of my favorite ones. I would like to spend some time explaining here. OpenWebDevice is just a definition of like, OK, I have this application. The web application is an application. What I'm going to define is a manifest file that is a JSON file that contains things like name, description, icons, where is my launchpad, and things like that. And also, the API provides a set of methods to installing an application and installing it, or even querying all the applications that are installed. This is an example of those APIs that I told you that they are jumping they are not just in bot to Gecko, OK? They are also as well in the Firefox nightly already. So that means that you can install a web application in whatever is running the Gecko engine. What it means that the same application that you are going to run in the phone is the one that you can run in the browser, in your desktop. It's the same code, the same render, the same thing. So that's pretty cool. OpenWebDevice is something that is fantastic. And you will think, OK, well, but this is just by Mozilla, no? No, again, Mozilla is doing the effort of standardizing this. That's quite important, OK? This is not just one thing that someone created. This is something that is is trying to become a standard. Another example, web APIs, no? It's like, this is for Android developers, it's quite familiar, OK? This is like, hey, please, system, there is an application that is able to do some tasks for me, like sending SMS. Yes, please, this is the phone number. I want to send an SMS. Someone take the task of sending that SMS for me. This is quite similar for Android and things like that. And also a good example of standardization. There is already something like Web Intents from Google. OK, Mozilla and Google are working together trying to have the same way of doing this kind of stuff. So maybe in just 3 months' time, this becomes a standard, OK? Again, an example of Wi-Fi APIs. OK, I could be talking about APIs forever, OK? Because there's a lot of them. We have Web Bluetooth API. We have Settings API. We have Web FM API. It's incredible, the new set of APIs that has been created for this. All of them in JavaScript, and all of them quite easy to use for you. So please take a look. I mean, for example, you have the Contacts API. Gregor, come on, wave your hand. Gregor is here. He created that API. You know, it's incredible. I mean, there's so many things. And what I wanted to show and share with you is that go there, take a look, and you will realize that you can start doing incredible things with JavaScript. OK. Well, I don't know. Also, now that I'm here, I would like to talk about the connectivity API, please. This is not just for using bot to Gecko. You can detect when a user doesn't have connections right now. Please, use it, OK? Because we are used to people having connection, having cables, having Wi-Fi, and so on. But in a mobile phone, people go offline quite often. So please, take that into account, OK? Not just for bot to Gecko, for anything. OK, so we have that set of APIs. It's incredible. And I don't know how big is the list. It's quite big, I can tell you. What we created with those APIs. What we created with those APIs is the last part of the ice cream that you saw before. It's the Gaia. It's the UX. It's the UX for this Firefox operating system. But what is Gaia is just a set of apps, of open web apps, the ones that I defined, the ones that I said before. So those are screenshots taken from the phone. I mean, those are not designs and things like that. That's actually the implementation, OK? So what you have on your left is an example of the system application. It's an open web app. You can go, check it, and you will realize that it's pure HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, nothing else, using those new APIs. But at the end of the day, it's whatever you are able to do. I mean, it's not black magic. Go, check it. You have things like a screen locker, settings. You have a lot of applications. For example, the one that you have on your right is the home screen application in the first app that you see when you launch the phone. This home screen application, what it's doing is something really, really simple. It's going and using the OpenWebApps API, asking how many applications do you have installed, going through them, and showing and presenting the icons for each application in a grid format. But think about this. This is an HTML, a DOM that you can modify, and you can do whatever you want. In this case, we are showing a grid. OK. But it's up to you. I mean, you can decide to show wherever you want. If you have a new idea and want to do it on 3D or wherever, it's there. OK? That's the important thing, that you can do whatever you want. You have a white canvas here to do stuff. So more things. Native. What means native here? It's quite funny. Native. There's native. The web is the native here. The open web is the thing that you don't need anything else. Firefox OS was made for and by the web. So remember, I love that phrase that says the web is the platform. Yes, it is. Okay. So these are examples that are the native dialer and the native contacts are just web applications that can run in the Firefox browser, for example. The only thing that you will need are this set of APIs that we said before. For example, let's think about a dialer. What the dialer is doing so far, it's quite simple. We have the settings API, OK? So we are going to store, we have the vibration API, for example. So we are going to store if we need to vibrate or we need to ring. Also, in settings, when we we can store the ringtone for the phone. So what we do is just check the settings API when we receive an incoming call, check if we need to vibrate or make a sound. We have a node, an audio node in the DOM where we change the source, pointing it to the audio file that we want to make the sound, and we start playing. Whenever we get the call, or we stop playing, and things like that. You know, it's like it's not really complicated. I mean, of course, it has a bit more of science here, but what I mean is like it's in your hands to modify the way that this works. So how do we create these applications, these open web apps? So far, I didn't mention anything about an SDK. You know, when you are trying to work in a new platform, the first thing that you think about is like, where's the SDK? How I can work on it? There is no SDK. Why? Because this is the open web. Does anyone tell you how you had to create your website? No one. Why should Mozilla tell you how you had to create web apps for the phone? Remember, the phone, Firefox OS, is made for the open web. So no one is going to tell you how you had to create your webs. So there's the reason why there is no like SDK, there is not something like that. Also, take into account that we said that the phone has a really limited number of resources. So instead of using standard and generic libraries, we decided to create a specific and vanilla plain JavaScript just to save in memory and things like that. Okay? But what we did is like, OK, once all the UX people get together and they decided how the look and feel of the phone was looking, for the developers like me, what we did is like, OK, we need to kind of have the same look and feel, at least for the applications that we are going to ship at the beginning. And what we have is like is a guideline. This guideline is what we call building blocks. Building blocks is another open source project, OK, just to define the markup and the CSS that the application should have. That's just a recommendation. Doesn't mean that you need to use it. For us, or the developers working right now in the project, is the way of creating the applications in a faster way. So there, what we have is just the markup and the CSS, no JavaScript. Because remember, there's a lot of things that we can do so far without JavaScript. Transitions, animations, things like that. We don't need to go and modify the DOM for doing that. It's better that we let the CSS engine to do this thing for us. So in the building blocks, you will have a list of common components that we are using. We are repeating across the applications that we are going to launch, OK? So yeah, that's the building blocks. Go there, take a look, and you will realize. So now is the time for trying it. I told you this is running in several devices already, but I'm sure that you want to try it now. You can do it. I was telling you, this is the open web. You don't need physically the phone for trying it. So here there are like three methods, three ways of trying it. First is Firefox nightly. As I said, it's like they are sharing the same magical engine called Gecko. It's the same one. You won't have some of the APIs that you already have in Gecko, but basically, if you want to test the look and feel and everything, wherever it renders perfectly in Firefox nightly will render perfectly in Firefox OS. Okay? So that's pretty cool. You can go download it. It's pretty nice. Then you have B2G, Gecko. Yes, it's closed platform. You can compile it for your own architecture, not just for the phone itself. This is like a pure emulator. This contains all the APIs. It's exactly the same software is running in the device, but you can have it on your machine. Okay. And also Mozilla is is providing us the nightly builds for this, so you don't have to compile it. You can just go there and download it for your operating system. It's pretty cool. It's the same thing that you have in the phone, but you have it on your architecture. This week or 1 week ago, this new thing that is called R2D, 2B, 2G, that actually stands for Ready to Deliver to Gecko. It's a pretty cool extension that you need to install in your Firefox nightly. Okay? What it does is like it adds an extra menu, and if you are browsing a web page, you can click and install it. And what it will do, it will launch a B2G emulator with that application already installed there, and you can check it. You don't have to configure it or things like that. So I will highly recommend to you guys to try it using this new theme. And once that you try, hopefully, you will feel what I'm feeling when I'm working in this project. For me, it's a project that is basically means freedom, the freedom of creating anything that is on my mind. Firefox OS is the chance that we have for first participating in a project, being able to collaborate and decide how things are working, but also Mozilla is giving us the chance of creating these things in this white canvas. What right now we are running Gaia, you can create wherever you want, okay? Whatever you want. When I say whatever you want, means whatever you want. Right now we are creating a phone, but you can decide to create any other thing. It's an open web app. You create web apps, so you can put something on the phone that the first thing that it does when it runs is whatever you decide. Okay? An example of this is this. This is a concept that a colleague of me that is working next to me had in mind, okay? He's not working in the project, but he's sitting next to me. And I always telling him, this is amazing, try it. And he came with this idea. I'm going to create a phone for elder people. The only thing that the phone is going to do is just to have some 4 quick dials. Also, I'm going to define some zones. And I'm going to track the people with GPS. If the people get out of the safer zone, I'm going to send a signal and things like that. He came with these designs, and literally, just in 2 weeks, that was running on the phone. And that's not just a simple application. That's what you have when you turn on the phone. That device, what it's doing, is just doing that. Okay? What it means, you can create wherever you want. In this case, it's a phone that what it does is just having these 4 quick dials. But again, this is a blank canvas. What you have in your hand is a phone that's actually a computer with extremely good communication capabilities and a lot of sensors. So imagine the amount of things that you can do. It's incredible. It's not just a phone. It's a chance of creating new incredible stuff. So please, start thinking about it. Start thinking all the new ideas that you can start creating with this. It will blow your mind. I mean, it's incredible. Each day I wake up and it's like, yes, I'm going to do this. Oh, wait, you had to fix bugs. Okay. But you can do it, you know. It's like, it's in your hands. Please do it. Also, yesterday I saw the presenters measuring their time. I'm really bad with timing conferences, so I decided to create an application that measures the time, okay? So it's here. I just spent 15 minutes creating that web application. And if you think about it, it's just a timer. And you are updating each second just to show the time there. It took me 15 minutes. Guys, for you, it will take probably 10, okay? So with this, what I want to tell you is like, this is the open web. Mozilla is putting in your hands a super powerful tool. And I really would like to use the open source when I saw yesterday. But the thing is that I cannot use it. And I'm quite happy that I cannot use it. I cannot use it because this is open source. This was born open source. It's incredible. So please go there, check it, collaborate, learn from the people on the IRC. Go and dive into the mailing list, okay? So just check and have that chance that you have for being participate of creating an operating system. That's so big. That's incredible. And just the feeling of being part of that movement is incredible. I really would like you to feel that, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Please, go ahead, check it, participate, and help Mozilla to build a better web. And that's all. Thank you.
I have one question. I've been a Palm user for a long time. I had every WebOS device possible. There is OpenWebDevice. This is the same thing. Why the hell do we need this?
Well, because we didn't have WebOS open until this week. And this has been open source since I know it, like 1 year ago. Maybe now it's time to work together. And I think that the two projects have to learn a lot from each other. But so far, WebOS wasn't open till literally this Tuesday, I think. So yeah, there's another chance. It's the open web. We have several changes, several options. So go for them.
Could you detail the steps I would have to take to run this on my phone?
Yeah, so if you want to run it in your phone, actually what you have to check is not the Gaia project, it's the B2G project. And there is a list of steps that you have to follow. So basically, download a repo, connect your phone, execute configure, and execute make. It will download some binaries that are proprietary. That's why we cannot distribute images of the phone, because it contains proprietary firmware. But during the build process, that firmware is downloaded and then put it back to the device. It's quite simple.
So I can run Firefox on my Android phone. Will I be able to run Chrome on this?
On Chrome? That's a very good question. I never tried. Well, I tried, but there are some things that are not looking completely OK, because as you know, there are some differences between the two engines.
So Chrome's a native C++ app, so it's not actually impossible to run a C++ app on this?
No, as far as I know. Maybe the people from Mozilla can tell you no, yes, there is. But as far as I know, what you are running on the phone are pure web apps. So it's web, what you run. Any more questions?
Nothing? Cool.
Well, I just want to say just one thing, sorry. It's like, I have a couple of devices. Please stop me, OK? And just shake me and tell me, show me the phone. Let's play with it. I want to check my webpage on it. Also, there are a lot of Mozillian people here. Please wave your hands. There's a lot of Mozillians that they have their phones, or so maybe they can show you how the phone looks like. OK? So that's all.
Thank you.